Welcome back. Missouri's top election official is expecting lower voter turnout in today's primary, even with a hotly contested U.S. Senate race.
Cullerton's Chief Capitol Bureau reporter Emily Manley asked the Secretary of State why that is. She's live in Jefferson City.
Well, Bailey, there's 4 million voters, as Steve just said, that are registered here in the state of Missouri. But the Secretary of State tells me today that he's expecting just a little bit more than 1 million of those voters actually will cast their ballot. Now, he's comparing this election to 2018. And he said that year there was 25% of registered voters that cast their vote. Well, this year he's expecting maybe 30%. He said that's what he's hoping. And he says one of the biggest reasons is because people are trusting the candidates that they choose. Candidates who might be voted are not doing what they say they will once they get into office, which is causing even more voters to stay at home.
Sadly, I think it's because most people look at the ballot and say there's nobody on the ballot I like. I think, unfortunately, that as we've lowered the bar for our politicians, they've somehow managed to still not reach it even as we drop it. And people are concerned that this politician sounds great when they're running for office, but once they get in there, they're not going to do what they said.
Now, as for tonight's results, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft is expecting the state Senate races to be the most competitive, which might be surprising because of that hotly contested U.S. Senate race. He says he's expecting those state Senate races to actually take the longest to tally. He's expecting unofficial results to be in between 11 p.m. and midnight, so it's going to be a late night. As for recounts, though, I asked him if he's expecting that to happen. He says not this time, but of course, if it does, it's not automatic here in the state of Missouri. A candidate has to request it after results are certified, which will be sometime next month. Now, here's a reminder, though, if you haven't voted yet, you need to hurry up and get to the polls. As long as you're in line by 7 o'clock this evening, you will have the chance to vote. Bailey and Steve?
All right, Emily, interesting perspective there. Now, later this month, the new elections law is going to take effect in the state. What will change for voters come November?
Well, actually, something that you might not realize, because when you went to the polls today, you might have took a photo ID, you might have taken your driver's license, you might have taken your passport. But actually, it's going to be required starting at the November election. Your utilities bill isn't going to work anymore. You're going to need a state-issued government ID. Now, besides that, touchscreen voting machines are also going to go away. Paper ballots will be the only way that you can vote here in the state of Missouri come November. Ballot boxes will also be banned in the Show Me State. And there will also be 2 weeks of no excuse absentee voting allowed in the state of Missouri. And that means that you won't have to have an excuse in order to vote early. A lot of different things coming. But as I said earlier, polls close here in about 40 minutes. So make sure if you haven't gotten to your polling place yet, stand in line. Reporting live tonight from Missouri State Capitol Bureau in Jefferson City, I'm Emily Manley.